What's good, YouTube? I'm back with another OTS Championship. 1 year later, instead of getting second place, we just won the whole damn event. So, step by step.
Can you show us your mat?
Yeah. Three show.
Oh, that's a great OTS mat.
Yeah. I forgot to bring the OTS mat with me because I didn't know we were going to do a deck profile, so I brought the New York Comic Con mat because I went to New York Comic Con. So, we also got this cool token. If anybody asks, it's not for trade. It's me asking the cameraman, what do you mean I can't use two monsters to summon the Code Talker? I mean, it says 2+ monsters on it. I don't know why you're able to do that. So I played Magicians for the OTS Championship because I felt like it was the most flexible deck of the format. Because like it's a really good deck on its own going first. It has a lot of power plays. Going second, I felt like it could like bang out with like the opponent's cards and like survive because like a lot of the Pendulum monsters are floaters, and also just it had the best extra deck of the game like right now.
Yeah.
Like it has so many extra deck cards which just single-handedly like annihilate most decks.
It's a lot of one of extra deck cards, but they're all really good.
I sadly wasn't able to get like some extra deck cards for the event, but it ended up working out because I won the whole thing. So the list changed a little bit, but like since I won the event, but it's pretty much the same as what I played.
Alright, let's see.
Alright, so we played 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs.
One up 40.
It's not called Ghost Ash. People keep saying that, and it pisses me off.
It's Sakura.
It's not a fucking ghost.
Ghost Ash Sakura.
It's not a ghost. It's a zombie. A zombie is not a ghost. So it's Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So this card is like amazing because it's just the best hand trap of the format, and it counters so many cards. Yeah. It stops bullshit. It stops all the bullshit, and it helps my matchups going second. And it's a tuner, but that never comes up for me, honestly. But yeah, this was just like a really flexible card that makes going second so much better. So yeah, that's self-explanatory. And then for the Magicians, we play 3 of the Stratos of the Archetype because for some reason he's at 3. Yep. Shut up, Ian. I call whatever I want, okay? So we played 3 of the Stratos.
Well, not Mochi Frog.
Yeah. So we played 3 of the Stratos, self-explanatory. It kind of sucks that he's not a Magician, because with some of the other cards in the deck, it doesn't work as well, but this card's still insane. We played 3 Astrograph Sorcerer. This card is just, like, insane. Like, especially if you're going second, because, like, your opponent's going to start blowing up your shit, and then you're just, like, Astrograph, and then, like, you search one of the cards that they blew up. Like, it's really good for setting up your skills going second. And going first is still pretty good, because, like, you activate Wisdom Eye, and then you pop the Wisdom Eye, and then you summon the Astrograph Sorcerer. And also with Wavering Eyes at 3, this card's really good, because Wavering Eyes is just basically a Mercy Teleport for this guy. So, yeah, this guy's really good. Also, the Mirror Match is good, because if you summon this guy, you could search a monster that your opponent destroyed this turn, even if you didn't destroy it, which in the Mirror Match comes up quite a bit, because like say if they Wisdom Eye and then they pop one of your cards, you could summon this guy and you can search the Wisdom Eye and stuff like that. Also, this card's actually just completely generic. Like you don't actually have to play it in a Pendulum deck, which I just realized like yesterday. Like so in any deck, you could just throw this in there and it's basically just like Gores. So hey, hot tip for you guys, like play this in True Dracos. It's next hot tech. You diagram, pop one of your monsters, and then you summon this and you search another one of it. Like,
did that be a monster that was destroyed on the field or destroyed in general?
Just to destroy in general. Well, it has a card you control has to be destroyed in order for you to summon him. But then when he is summoned, you add any monster that was destroyed this turn.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's actually like super generic and it's insane. The effect of Fusion Summon never comes up because of the new extra monster, real sadly.
I did that at Natch. It was really funny.
Yeah, it's funny when it comes up. Then we play 3 Harmonizing Magician. This is like the reason to play the Magician variant over something like Odd Eyes or like even like the Metaphos is because this card is just a 1-card XYZ or Synchro
or Link.
Yeah, or Link. Yeah, fun fact. You can't use it for Synchro, Fusion, or XYZ summon if you don't use a Magician monster, but it doesn't say anything about Link, so you can just totally use it for a Link summon.
Luster also.
Yeah, same thing goes for Luster. They really got to start putting that mechanic of like you can't use this card to summon another monster. But yeah, so this card's really good. The restriction of you can only Pendulum summon it from your hand isn't that big of a deal because we play Oath Dragon Magician, so when this gets sent to your X check, you use Oath Dragon to add this back, so you just like every turn you just free XYZ or Synchro, and you can make like all the good X-Check monsters in the game with this card. It's like insane, and she's like highly searchable. 3 Wisdom Eye Magicians. It's not as good as it used to be because the extra monster rule, but like more often than not, like even if you open double Wisdom Eye, you still get it's still like a +2 because you get Oath Dragon and you add one back, and so you can like basically pendulum summon 2 from your X deck. So this is really good because like it makes it so much easier to pendulum summon, and then also lets you like pendulum summon a monster from your X deck more often than not. So this card's still like amazing. Then we play 3 Black Fang Magicians. We played 3 because you just want to like pendulum summon this guy, and like if they strike it, then like you can trigger his effect to like summon like one of your dark spellcasters. So it's just a good card to just like have as many copies of, especially because like in the grind game, this card's like amazing because then you'll start having monsters in your graveyard to actually summon with this guy, and his effect. His pendulum skill is actually really good too, because like he halves a monster's attack and then he destroys himself, which then triggers his effect special from the graveyard. So he's basically monster board. In the OTS Championship, I played against 3 Paleos, and this card was like amazing against all of them, because like you just have this in your scale, and then you use his effect to slice the Totally Awesome's attack in half, and they can't negate it because it's a spell effect. And then he would die, and then he would summon a guy that would like kill the Totally Awesome. Like this, taking advantage of like the spell and trap effects was like how I beat all of my Paleo matchups, because like Totally Awesome can't negate spell and trap effects, so I just like used that to my advantage. And this card was like really good. Like going first, he's not that great, but he's just a good beater. Going second in like the grind game is where this card really shines. And then we play 3 of the Double Iris Magician because he searches out the Star Pendulum Graph and more importantly the Time Pendulum Graph. Sadly, because of the ruling, you can't use this effect going first, but if you make like Tornado Dragon, you can just like pop him and then you search the trap anyways. So yeah, this card was really decent. He's also an 8 scale, so he's like one of your go-to scales. And then we play 3 Purple Poison. This card's really good because when he dies, he just pops a face-up card. So, especially in matchups where like you maybe can't pendulum summon, or like your opponent has a lot of trap cards.
He also has a booty.
Yeah, he also has a good booty. Like 21 defense. This card's actually just like amazing against the Paleozoic deck because he has 1200 attack, so he crashes with all the Paleozoic monsters, and he has 21 defense, which means none of the main deck monsters can deal with this guy, with the exception of Totally Awesome. And if Totally Awesome kills this guy, Purple Poison can trade with them, which forces the negate. So yeah, this card's really good, especially if you get like anti-spell, because then like you just summon this guy and they crash with one of their monsters and you pop anti-spell. So yeah, this guy's really good. I mean, as a scale, he's like okay. I usually go for Oath Dragon, but in some matchups like you want him in the scale. This also makes your True Draco matchup like so much better, because like Skullcrab Joker just single-handedly outs Masterpiece, because like you summon Joker, you search this card, you put it in your scale, Joker attacks the Masterpiece, this pops, makes Joker 3000, and then this pops the diagram, so he could die by battle. So like, yeah, this card's like really flexible, and also like if they strike this, you get to pop one of their cards. So yeah, this card's pretty decent. Then we play 2 of Dragon Magicians. I kind of wish I played 3, but I always had access to it, even at 2. Like I never banished all of them off Desire, so I feel like this probably actually is the right number. Kind of sucks pendulum summoning him from like the extra, because then he clogs up your extra monster zone. And since I don't play any like level 10 synchros, like he just sits there and like you can't do any other extra deck summons unless you go for a link summon. But like both of his effects are really good. Like this card basically lets you pendulum summon 2 from the X deck every turn, because like he adds back 1 from your X deck, and then you can pendulum summon the 1 into the extra monster zone. So this card's like very important to like the deck. And then we play 1 White Wing Magician. Honestly, I might just cut it and like play another copy of like Pendulum Graph or Oath Dragon Magician. But like the theory with this card is that with Oath Dragon Magician, no, not with Oath Dragon Magician, but with Harmonizing Magician, you would summon her, and then she would summon White Wing Magician, so you could go for a double synchro play. Or, and this is like the main reason to play it, is that this can be used with Skullcrab Joker, which is really good because you can't use Harmonizing Magician with Skullcrab Joker. And what you could do with this card is that you can effectively scout like your opponent and what they're playing. So like the play is that you would summon Harmonizing Magician and then maybe like 2 other level 4 Magician Pendulum monsters, and then you use your effect, you summon White Wing Magician, and then you tune that to make Cyframe Lord Omega, and then you banish a card in their hand, and depending on what you banish, that basically informs like the next summon you're gonna make. So if I was playing against True Dracos, I would banish, if I banish like a diagram or like a True Draco monster, I'd be like, okay, they're playing True Dracos, so then I take my my Harmonizing Magician and I make Beals, and then I just win because they can't out Beals. Or if I hit like a Card Demise or like a Paleo or a Frog Monster, I'd be like, okay, so you're playing Paleozoics, so we're gonna make Tornado Dragon. And if I was playing the mirror match, then we just go for like Time Star Magician. And also against Trick Stars, if I hit like a Trick Star card, I would either make Trapeze Magician if I had one, or Beals and stuff like that. So like with this card, you can effectively scout your opponent and what they're playing, and then like the next extra deck play, like we'll hit them harder.
Why is that not a dark? Like that's all I had to do.
Yeah, that would have really sucked. It sucks it's not a dark, but yeah. Also, you can make double Omega with this card. And actually, you can make 3 Omegas with this card, depending on what your hand is. You have to have a very specific hand. But yeah, this enables double Omega plays, and it lets you scout your opponent, so that way your next extra deck summon is like really huge. So this is like, it's a pretty good card. I usually side it out like games 2 and 3, especially if I'm going second. But I like the card. It's not bad. Honestly, I should probably just play 2 Pendulum Calls though, like, because more often than not, like against a True Draco deck, like that's the only time where you really want to like save the Harmonizing Magician in that scenario. But yeah, so that's the monsters. It's a lot of monsters. Spell cards. We play 3 Desires. It's really good in this deck because it's a pendulum deck. Any monsters you draw, you can use because you can pendulum summon them. And if you draw spells and traps, that's obviously really good. But like the fact that like you're not restricted by your normal summon makes this card even better. And if you draw multiples, you can discard the other one for Pendulum Call, which is very huge. Then we play 3 Duelist Alliance because it searches out Pendulum Call, Double Iris, Time Pendulum Graph, Star Pendulum Graph. And I think that's it, but that's pretty huge. And if you draw multiples, you can search Pendulum Call and then just discard the other one for that. Also, I place cards in my side deck, which benefit from this card, which is very important. We play 3 Wavering Eyes. It's really good in the mirror match, but even just like in general, it's just good because like you can get the Astrograph or like you get the Joker. So I still like this card. I sided out if I play against a non-Pendulum deck, but I felt like game 1 it was just too good to not play. And then we play 1 Pendulum Call because you can search it and recycle it. But honestly, I should probably play more of this. But of course, I sold like the other Pendulum Call I had in the card. It's like $5. So
it's not worth running 2.
Yeah,
it's really not worth running 2. You wanted when you wanted, and in most cases you can search it.
You don't discard the monsters in this deck. You discard spells and traps. That's the main play of Pendulum Call. Is to discard all the hard once per turn cards you can't make use of. And
I run 2
this card
of
gets
that
Ash
right
Blossomed
now
a lot
because of
really
the Duelist
sucks.
Alliance.
Yeah.
I only run 2 of the Duelist Alliance, so I run 2 of that. I need to get a 3rd.
Yeah, but like this card's pretty good. It protects your scales from getting blown up. Like it synergizes it really well with the trap card because then like since your Pendulum Scale, if you use your Pendulum Scales for the trap card's effect, they don't die, so you get the other half of the effect where you get to send that card on the field to graveyard. So honestly, I should probably play more of this, but yeah, 1 worked for me. I won the event, so yeah. Then we play 1 Star Pendulum Graph because it's searchable, and honestly, it's not like that important to the deck, but it is good enough that you want to play it because, yeah, it's like a searchable combo piece. Like with the 3 Duelist Alliance and the Double Iris and this, you have like 7 copies of this card, while only ever having 1 in your deck so that way you don't draw multiples and stuff like that. It's like, even if you get Spanish off Desires, it's not that big of a deal, but it is good enough in the deck you want to play it, so it occupies this weird middle ground where like if you see it, it's fine, but if you don't see it, that's also fine, so it's weird. And then we play 2 of the trap card because it's too important to not play. Because you don't want to like banish it off Desires. Also, this trap card's like crazy.
It's insane, yeah.
It's awesome. It's so good. Like just ending with just having a feel of like Omega, Time Star Magician, and this card it just like beats like so many meta decks. Like, it's crazy. So that's the main deck. It's 40 cards, the right number, because you want to see the Jokers, Astrographs, and Ash Blossoms and Pot Desires. You want to see all those cards like as soon as possible, so you have to play 40. Extra deck. We play 3 copies of Silent Flame Lord Omega because since he can teleport out of the extra monster zone, you can make multiple Omegas, and also he's good because like you do a Sacred Summon, and then you do like another extra monster in play. There's also a play where you can make 3 Omegas. You can make 2 Omegas a lot, but it's actually possible to make 3 Omegas if you depend on someone like Harmonizing Magician and like 3 monsters without normal summoning with Oath Dragon in your scale. You can make 3 Omegas. Because basically, you Pendulum Summon the 4 monsters, and then you bring out the White Wing Magician, and then you make 2 Omegas, and then Oath Dragon adds back the Harmonizing Magician, and you normal summon that, and then you make the 3rd Omega.
Can you normal it?
Yeah, you can. You can normal summon it.
Okay.
Well, that doesn't come up that much, but like 2 Omegas comes up quite a bit. So like the 3rd one is just like gravy in case like sometimes you open that hand.
Yeah, for some reason I thought Harmonizing was like Gofu.
No, you could just normal summon it. Also, it's cool like if they strike it in the Black Flame Magician, you can just bring back Harmonizing, which is hilarious. Then we play this card, Supreme King Dragon Clearwing. As for like all Supreme things, like Supreme Clothes, Supreme Brand, anything in the Supreme brand is obviously really good. But this card's like insane because he's just, you summon him and then you destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Also, he's Construct meets Flame Wingman. Any monster he battles, he just kills, and then they take damage equal to its attack. Like, and it's really easy to summon. It's just like, it's a level 8 synchro that takes two Dark Pendulum, like one tuner and then one non-tuner Dark Pendulum monsters. So literally, Harmonizing Magician can just summon this card, and then you just blow up all their monsters, and then they die. Like, it's just, this card's like insane. Like, I go into this a lot, and I won like quite a few games with just this card alone. Then we play one Ignister. He's really good for like the non-targeted removal. Also in the mirror match, he's like insane because like you can just like pop one of their scales that don't float and then shuffle away the other one, so you can like take out their scales. Because like you can target your opponent's pendulum cards, which is still really cool. Like I don't play Luster Pendulum though, because I felt like he didn't really add much to the deck, so he's not as good as he could be. But it's still like a really good card to just have at my disposal. And then we play the one Beals because it auto wins against Trick Stars and the True Draco deck because they can't out it. I didn't play against a single one of those decks at the event though, so honestly I probably didn't have to play this card for that event, but it was nice to just have. Thank you Brian Shanahan for lending me this card. Then we play one Alignment Paladin because it lets you add back like all the powerful spells in the deck. Like if you use Wavering Eyes and you know you're playing against a mirror match, you make this card so you can add back the Wavering Eyes. Or like you can add back Cosmic Cyclones, which is what I did like in the tournament. You can also add back Pendulum Call, which is very huge, and also why you only need to play one. Also, he has like the Flame Wingman effect of like any monster he kills, you just burn the opponent. And also, he's a Dark Spellcaster, so if he dies, yes, you can bring back Black Fang, which is great. And then for the XYZs, we play two Time Star Magicians because this card, I was never able to get this guy to like get 2 searches, but like the idea is that you get the search off, you do like Omega, and then you make this guy, and then you get a search, and then if he survives to the next turn, you get another search. So like that's, especially because like you're searching cards like Joker and Astrograph Magician, which is pretty much all you ever searching with this guy, like that's effectively like a +2, like off that search alone. And he protects your scales, and he synergizes with the trap card, because if your scales would get destroyed, or like your monsters, your pendulum monsters get destroyed, you can send one spellcaster monster from your deck to your graveyard, and that combos with Time Pendulum, because if you do that, you can then send another card from the field to the graveyard. So this card's like amazing, so I ended up bumping him up to 2. And he's also really good because you can get him off Black Fang, and unlike Alignment Paladin, like his effect is actually still pretty relevant, because the effect to protect your scales and your pendulum monsters can work even if he has no exclusive material. So that actually came up quite a bit, and it really helped in a lot of those grind games. Then we played one Tornado Dragon. This card's like amazing because you could pop your double Iris Magician to search a trap card. Also, it's just really good against the True Draco deck, and it's also good against Paleos. Actually, in like the finals, I was playing against Jamie, and since I played against him in Swiss, and I knew he was playing Paleos, I went first. I just shotgunned Tornado Dragon, and that just killed him. Like against Paleos, if you do Omega, take a card out of their hand, you make Tornado Dragon, and then you have the trap card set, you just beat Paleos every time. Because like they can't deal with Tornado Dragon unless they make Totally Awesome, and if they make Totally Awesome, the trap card deals with it. And then if they set their trap cards, you just pop it, and then on the next turn you pop another one. So you're just like bleeding them out of all their trap cards, and it's like really good. Also, it's just good because like it's just free spell and trap removal. Then we played the Utopia package. This never came up, but it was nice to have. These two cards are like fused together. Jesus Christ. We played one Castell. He never came up, but I felt he was too flexible to not play. Then we played Abyss Dweller.
That's an out to Beals.
Yeah, it is an out to
Beals.
Beals.
You run that out to Beals.
Yeah,
you need to.
The Ignister is better, but yeah. Then we played Abyss Dweller in case I went up against like Light Sworns. It never came up, but it was nice to have. And we played one Decode Talker because in the late game, if you have like a bunch of monsters on field, you just make the Decode Talker, and then you can pendulum summon 2 from your X check, or 3 if you have the Oath Dragon. So it lets you get more value out of your pendulum summons. Also, like pendulums just have like really great synergy with link monsters. It's just we don't have any good link monsters right now.
Yeah,
but like this is like the best one I could play. I considered playing like 2 of this and maybe like Proxy Dragon, but like I only ever needed one. One only ever came up.
All right,
and
so let's go to the side.
Side deck. The side deck changed a little bit between the OTS Championship and like now, but it's pretty much what I played. I played 3 Cosmic Cyclones. This came in against every single matchup, because it dealt with like the anti-spell and back row, and also just like banishes stuff, which comes up in, especially in the mirror match. So yeah, this card is just like really flexible. Honestly, you should probably just like main this or like Mystical Space Typhoon, but it worked out. So, and then my spice for the mirror match, I played 2 copies of Pendulum Storm and then 1 copy of Pendulum Hole. Well, actually, when I was in the OTS Championship, I played 2 Pendulum Holes, but I'm not playing 1. But yeah, so what I did was Duelist Alliance can search any spell or trap card or a monster that has Pendulum in the name, and so these cards have Pendulum in the name. So in the mirror match, you don't actually have to have this card in the Pendulum scale. It's just there has to be a card in the Pendulum scale. So it works off your opponent. So literally what you can do, and what I did against Joe Bogley and like some of the other Pendulum matchups, is that I would Duelist Alliance, and since they had a card in the scale, I could do it. And I search Pendulum Storm, and then I Pendulum Storm, I blow both their scales, and then I take out their trap card for like 1 card. It's literally, in the mirror match, this is literally just Heavy Storm. And like that trap card is so important in the mirror match, so being able to like just like take that out is like huge. Also, like, it forces out the deep barriers and stuff like that.
Honest and tricks.
Okay. And the Pendulum Hole is really good because this does not destroy. So it does not trigger Astrograph Magician. It does not trigger Black Fang. It does not trigger Double Iris. And it does not trigger Purple Poison. So, like, in the mirror match, if you go first, or even if you're going second, I would say just saying going second. But if I was going second, I would only sign, like, one of these. So in the mirror match, you just, like, have this. And then if they basically can't make another play because you just negate it, and then you win. Like, this is like a searchable trap card for your deck. So it was like it was very powerful. It was only good in the mirror match, and also if I played against Milfos, but I didn't play against any Milfos. But like this card was like really important. We got 3 Ghost Ogres, but we didn't play that for like the OTS Championship. But I do like this card quite a bit. Then we played at the OTS Championship. I played 2 Tango Sekas, and I played 3 Zaffion the Time Lords. But I feel like 2/2 is like pretty good. These are really good because obviously Denko, I would bring this in against Paleos because it just auto wins against Paleo. Unless, of course, they have Anti-Spell or Totally Awesome. But more often than not, this was pretty good. But, like, this is, like, really good flexible card that you could play against True Dracos and against a lot of trap decks because even if they have, like, Anti-Spell Fragrance, this couldn't out Anti-Spell Fragrance. So this card just deals with back row that's already on the field, and it just shuffle aways all their back row, and then May phase 2, you Pendulum Summon. And, like, if you don't have to deal with back row, Pendulums are just like the best deck. Even when like Zodiacs were a thing, like if you could Pendulum Summon and not have to worry about any back row, you were gonna win. So like these cards just like out all the back row, and so I like these cards quite a bit. Right now I'm only playing 2 of each. I only had 2 Denkos, but I had 3 Zaffions, but I feel like 2 works pretty well right now. And I played 3D Barrier for the event, but so Dimensional Barrier, this is a really good flexible card that you could play against like a multiple other decks, but I would play this going first against the Pendulum deck because like you just flip when they summon the Joker, you flip this, you call Pendulums, and then you win. Or at least so I thought, but apparently like it's weird because like the way the mirror match works, at least at the event, was that like game 1. They would go first. They would have Omega time star the trap card, and then you just can't play through any of that, and you lose. But then games 2 and 3, I would side it. Games 2 and 3, it was weirdly enough like a grind game. Like even if they had stuff like Pendulum Hole or Dimensional Barrier, the game still like went on for quite a while. Whereas in like game 1, it would just like end pretty quickly. So it's kind of weird how that worked because I would have like D Barrier and like Pendulum Hole set, and it would still take like a few turns to like beat the opponent. But these cards are still like really good against the matchup. And also it's good because it's good against the side against ABC, and I don't know if there's some other random like ritual deck or some other like deck that played it.
Vendread.
Yeah. It worked against other decks too, but so this is like a good flexible card that you can play against multiple decks. So I like this quite a bit. I didn't sign in going second, but going first just like really good.
All right, so any final words?
It's pretty nice after getting my first Nats invite last year by getting second place. That next year I would just win the whole event. Well, it was only 12 players, so it's not actually like it's not the greatest achievement. But don't you take this away from me? I won something, and sadly could not have my revenge matchup against Paulie because I played him in the last round of Swiss when I was already locked in for my top cut, and it ended in a draw because he has to take forever playing, and he lost in top 4, so I couldn't play him in the finals again. That sucks, but yeah. So we got that invite. We got the OTS playmat, although I don't have it on me, but it's nice to have a playmat that has zones on it because Jesus Christ, like cards and like columns just like seem to like drift into like the other columns, like if you don't pay enough attention. So it's nice to have a mat with zones on them, even if it's like a really weird mat. And gotta enjoy that. Gotta enjoy this format while it lasts because Spirals is just around the corner.
What do you mean it'll last till next week?
Yeah, it lasts until like next week. Hopefully we can
The
go
day
to
Ron
regionals.
comes up to my school next week is going to be the final day that we can say, oh, Spirals.
Yep.
Your shout out to Albert's arm strength holding the camera for like 3 hours here while Pat talks.
Yeah,
Yeah, how long are we at? Like last year, it was
25
like,
minutes.
Hey, that's shorter than last year. Last year was like 35 minutes and I got second place.
So,
Progress.
progress. Peace out.
All right.